Yeah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I wanted to also thank the brothers for inviting me today to be here tonight with you, and it's really a very heavy time to go through, and I don't know how I can start this, because when I was doing my Jum'ah khutbah I was very emotional. I couldn't control myself from crying, and as a result of what is happening around us. And one of the things that I have been promoting is to take care of our mental health. And as my brother mentioned, I am a registered psychotherapist beside being an imam, and alhamdulillah trying to be active in different areas. I notice how much of a toll this is having on my personal life. I have noticed a huge difference in the way I have been dealing with my family members. It's affecting my ability to do the normal work I do. And on the top of that, I'm also, I was actually a peer support, a member of the peer support team in the hospital. And I stepped down because of my busy schedule, but I'm certified still as a peer support. And I was approached by the hospital admin to provide a safe space for the employees to be able to vent their feelings and deal with their own thoughts. And I thought that maybe I need to take this idea around and provide a safe space for all age population and for family members to be able to deal with their own thoughts and raw feelings. And this is, of course, needs to be done in a safe environment with the professional guidance. And that's what we're doing here. And I did a similar session just before coming here to high school population. Alhamdulillah, I'm excited to see university/adult population that are present tonight. And inshallah, I'll be doing more listening than talking to you, so you're able to vent out your thoughts and feelings and try to come up with terms of subtlety to what is happening. Try, as I always say it, I try to help people to make sense of the nonsense in their life. And in doing so, we need to be able to reach some rational conclusions to what is happening around us. And I'm being open. I have received questions from young population, high school, university population, who are questioning not the existence of Allah Azza wa Jal, the Mighty, but they're saying, we understand that what is happening in Gaza is unjust. And we understand that Allah Azza wa Jal, the Mighty, is just, well, why is this happening? So these are normal thoughts to come to mind that needs to be dealt with in a healthy environment. So as I said, inshallah, I know there's a lot in your mind. And I started my previous session by saying to everyone, what I want you to do is to feel free to talk today, because whatever you will be saying would be, I normally say in my private sessions of counseling, whatever is said in the counseling session stays in the counseling session, but here we are in an open session. But I trust that everyone here will be mindful and respectful to everyone's opinion, and will be giving them the ability to express themselves. After all, you're not here to be judged, but to be respected for your own opinions, and for us all to be able to come up with terms of subtlety to our feelings and our thoughts. So I started my previous session by saying, how do you feel with this all happening? So lower your guards, let your mind speak, and let the flow of the emotions come out, and inshallah we'll deal with it in a more professional capacity. So I said again, be mindful of, some people might get emotional, others might cry, others might be saying that could be offensive, but let's just try to deal with it so you're able to get the skill and take it inshallah to those who are surrounding you or in your circle of surrounding. So here you go. Who would like to start? How do you feel as you're watching what is happening to our, brothers and sisters in Palestine? All of you have seen what is going on. You've seen the images of children under the rebels. You've seen civilians running around trying to seek refuge and they're unable to. You've heard what officials in the international arena have said. You feel frustrated, you feel helpless, you feel powerless, you feel angry, you feel sad. All these are healthy emotions and thoughts to come to mind, and we're here to deal with them. This includes both sides, the brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
Maybe one more. Anger?
Anger. Again, it's a very, natural feeling to come to you in the circumstances we're living in. Yani I could, even explore it a little more. Do you want to tell us why are you feeling angry?
It's because you see what you're seeing on the screen or on social media.
Right.
And the reactions, since it's a safe space, I would say enemies.
That's the whole idea.
How they are responding to this.
Yeah.
If you're sitting at home, you can't do anything.
Angry because you're feeling helpless, powerless. You're exposed to graphic images. You've seen it and you're trying to inquire what's happening and what's going on, and you feel you're unable to do anything. You're angry at the officials of the world, and this is what I said in my speech today. I said we're angry at all the international leadership in the world, but we are with all the international population across the globe, because international population across the globe have showed their anger in the demonstrations that have taken place in almost every corner on the earth. What else? Yes, Akhi, go ahead.
Betrayed.
Portrayed. That's
Everyone's saying, double standards.
You're right. Portrayed. And you could feel it, it's happening, close to you. From the officials you have, built hopes on, the one you've trusted and casted your voice for. And you feel that they're portraying you in a most difficult time when they're not standing for their own moral values. Is that how you feel? That's a natural feeling. That's something that would come up to someone who has conscience. What else? And by the way, the sisters, please feel free to, if you wanted to come a little closer. Alhamdulillah, my daughter is with you in the back, so we're trying to give the space for everyone and the ability to be able to express themselves and communicate. So if you're comfortable in the back there, alhamdulillah, if you want to come a little closer, we can ask the brothers to come a little more closer. No, you can come forward and let them sit in the back. That's fine. You can come a little closer and they will be sitting in the back. Or you want to come closer, alhamdulillah, we have two sides, inshallah, now. Yeah, that would be even more effective. This is still going on, right? It's going on, right? Yeah? The tasjeel is okay, right? Tasjeel, okay, خلاص, alhamdulillah. So I know that sister wanted to share something. Yes, go ahead, please, yes, sister.
So I feel like I'm in an ongoing reflective mind state because I would question, first of all, I would question why is that happening to them, and then try and see what I can do. And because of how limitless we are, we can always reflect upon our iman. That we have to be sure that our iman, because what we're saying right now doesn't make any logic in our head, because it's well, we know that at the end we're going to be winning, but then we have to always reflect upon that later on, even though we see our people dying and all, but we should maintain this mindset that no matter how much, and I understand civilians are dying, innocent people are dying, but at the end we are going to be winning. So we have to always reflect upon and ponder upon that, because we don't want to shatter at the end. I mean, that's what they want us to. That's their main goal. And also reflect upon the people we thought that were worth our trust and time, because it's very shocking for me how the Western media is so like they're straight up lying, and it's just shocking to me because like that's it makes so like it doesn't make any sense. Like why are you guys doing that? And, like I'm seeing like that, yeah. So like I would reflect upon that, like what type of media I'm like consuming, like I'm consuming my whole life and trusting. But like nowadays, everything is just changing because of this thing that's going on.
Yeah. Jazakallah khairan. I wonder if there's another mic that we can use for people to speak on. Otherwise, if possible, we can use the same mic and ask people to come forward and express themselves. Otherwise, I'll just listen and just reiterate it so that everybody able to hear it. If there's another mic, portable mic, that would be nice, inshallah. So I think the sister, presented many thoughts, and I think among these thoughts that she presented is that she's still wrestling with and trying to make sense of the nonsense, literally, of what is happening. She's trying to rationalize, and this is who we are as a human being. We're rational beings, trying to all the time rationalize things. And when we're unable to rationalize, issues in our life, it causes pain to us. And I could also hear from the sister echoing what the brother was saying, that she feel betrayed. She feel that you have lost trust on certain individuals or officials who have not stood up for their moral values. And you did touch base about media, and I'm personally an extreme inshallah, and I'm personally deeply hurt, if I can use that word, for what the media is doing. The last I was expecting, people who are professionals in the media world, in mass media, who are, I can't find logical or give them a benefit of the doubt for playing a double standard in the way they're covering this issue. They've lost their morals. They're deliberately, changing, facts and promoting lies. This is ethically unacceptable, professionally unacceptable. In a profession like journalism, you're expected to be an ambassador of the truth and haqq. And what you're seeing is quite the opposite. And that should make you feel sad and angry. I agree with you, 100%. That's a natural, a normal feeling you would be going through as a result of what you're experiencing in such a difficult time, when you're seeing people's life is being lost. And you're talking about civilians, you're talking about children, talking about hospitals, you're talking about shelters and schools. And just imagining yourself being in a shoes of a parent, and which I said it last time and I broke in tears. I said I'm a father for children. My aim at the end of the day to come home, enjoy a dinner with my family, and to be able to safely go to bed. Now, how I'm able to do that, knowing that people in Gaza are not even able to find a clean air to breathe, let alone to drink some water or to be able to have food to provide for their own children. They're unable to find safe location that they're able to stay in, knowing that they will not be killed or bombarded, let alone sleeping. I'm not sure how many days have elapsed without being able to sleep. So all these things are normal thoughts and feelings that would come to your mind as a conscious individual. You're at the stage and age of your life where you're now becoming a person of clear identity, and you're trying to establish clear moral values and principles and stand for them for your life. In your university, you're now exploring and you're starting to adopt a lifestyle. Many of you are active in different clubs and organizations, and you're moving forward in your life to become an effective person. Sorry, I got emotional. I shouldn't be doing that as a professional. I'll let you talk.
I have a question.
Yeah.
They lost their morals, and my question back is, and did they have morals?
That's a good question to ask, because the brother is saying, we're questioning what happened to their morals, and the brother is saying, did they really have morals at the beginning to start with? That's a good question to ask or to reflect upon, because eventually, someone who has principle and morals would not be compromising them even in difficult situations, and you should be standing for them. Go ahead, Akhi.
A lot of people have been saying that the masks are off or the masks have fallen, and if you look at the West, I decided to take a bit of time and dig back and to read about some of like the history of Zionism and Judaism and whatnot. And there's this author, his name is Abdul Wahab al-Nasiri.
Yeah.
Wonderful writer. He points out a few things that, like, first of all, the Orientalistic way, or the Orientalist lens of looking at the East and the Far East never went away. They've always looked at us as backwards people who can never govern themselves, and also Edward Said is a bit of Edward Said as well, but like they've always looked at us as people who cannot be governed, or who can't govern ourselves, who cannot control ourselves, who need to be dominated and managed. And even though that they claim that they are secular societies, you can be very secular, yet you can have the religious animosity of someone who's very religious, and this is kind of what they show. So they're secular in everything until it comes to Islam, until it comes to us. And then the other face comes, which we've seen kind of the mask fall off, and that religious animosity. And a lot of people believe that the West really valued all the values that like they claim to stand for, but those values don't apply to us.
So I guess what you're saying in another word is you're seeing hypocrisy.
A lot of hypocrisy.
A lot of hypocrisy. Masks are falling, and the ugly faces are being exposed. The historical, issue of Muslims being after the collapse of Khilafah, being a victim of the Europeans who have taken over and dominated our countries and control our political systems and took advantage of our resources and deprived us from the ability to being able to stand on our own feet and be our own selves, because we're subjugated to governing regimes that are nothing but puppets controlled by the remote control from Western or allied or superpowers. That's basically what it is. And how does that make you feel? How do you feel about all these facts? You see, I'm going back to the issue of feelings and thoughts. How do you feel about this? We're trying to deal with the feeling. So we're at the end, we will be coming to an action plan that would help us to not feel helpless, despair, but would help us to become more empowered to do something practical, rational, and into taking, in preventing what is happening from happening, and feel good about, being active, because we are in an ancient battle with Shaitan. Shaitan's main attempt is to drift us from the right path. And one of the tools of Shaitan, by the way, is to cripple you from being active in the haqq. And helplessness, powerlessness, feeling tied, and being unable to achieve or feeling down is one of the attempts of Shaitan to put you down. So we need to free ourselves from these shackles and feel the power of reaching out and unleashing the energy. We have a massive energy inside us that we could be utilized in a powerful way to make a huge difference. Go ahead, Akhi.
So it's strangely actually very freeing, because even to us, or to those of us who didn't feel like we should follow the model of the West, some part of us held on to that they have values that we want to look forward to, that they have some structure that we want to be like. But both people here and back home have completely, because
lost
that faith in the West, now you're free to look inwards instead of looking outwards.
Beautiful. So that's a positive, a positive step in the right direction. So the brother is saying that we've been always, led to believe that the West have values, principles, and living standards of civilization. And we're seeing, that these principles and values are failing. So people are now questioning their own, own beliefs and moral values, and in exploring or investing or going back to their own principles and values, which are stemming from our beliefs as Muslimin. I was talking to the young population, and one of the, kids was saying, we should revenge. I said to him, I agree with you. Revenge is an energy, coming from anger, and when you revenge, you unleash that energy. Beautiful. There is nothing wrong with that. But I said to him, we're criticizing, the Israelis for what they are doing, and we're criticizing the Western societies for their double standard and for blind support to the killing of civilians in Palestine. And if we act the same, on the same premises they're acting on, then we're failing our own principles. So clearly, we need not to be, fooled, but at the same time, we need to act within our own principles and moral values and move forward in a direction that would help us to make a change. And this is, inshallah, will be the conclusion of our session by what's the action plan. And I do strongly believe in every single person in this hall. I strongly believe that each one of you is not a soldier, but a commander that can make a huge difference, inshallah, in the short term and on the long term. I'm not sure if this is like a question you said. Yeah, go ahead, sister. Yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't sure what is it for because you proclaimed. Yes, go ahead, Ikhti.
Okay. It goes directly. So naturally, I think it's normal to feel grief, to see mass devastation.
No, it's not okay.
Mass devastation, and injuries and illnesses and deaths like never seen before. Best Kaman, also it is almost the amazement at the level of resilience you're also seeing from Palestinian people it's really beautiful to see people reacting to that resilience, seeing, what is this religion that they're referring to?
Being inspired with that resilience.
Yeah,
Powerful.
and seeing like non-Muslims cracking open the Quran and like seeing where this resilience comes from, subhanAllah. And also feeling an immense sense of hope, because I feel like my entire life we've been protesting for Palestinians, but this is the first time you're seeing, non-Arabs come to protests. You're seeing really large figureheads, possibly not from our government, but elsewhere, calling for a ceasefire, calling for the end of oppression and apartheid and occupation. And this has never happened before, at least in my lifetime. So in the short term, alhamdulillah, there's that recognition that there's something wrong. And I think you were talking about possibilities of calls to action. And I was hearing a lecture earlier today about, working towards long-term things that would either aid the situation or prevent it from happening. Like having our own platform, not Meta, not Instagram, not Facebook, where things are censored, or having a Starlink installed in Gaza so that no more blackouts are possible, like they did in Ukraine. So I think this is a time where a lot of people are waking up, and a lot of people, inshallah, will hopefully not lose the momentum happening now and forget it in the next news cycle, but make actual changes, inshallah, that will help with the liberation of Palestine.
Excellent. Thank you so. I can't thank you enough, sister. I could see shift in the feelings, shift in the flow of the emotions. Though we're grieved, though we're angry, though we're sad, though we're frustrated, though we feel powerless, though we feel helpless, but we are being inspired with the very positive energy coming from those people under their belts. I can't believe where they're able to get their energy and how they're able to speak and show the strength that have inspired us who are living in very comfortable environment. You're true. That's absolutely something that we need to pay attention to. And I agree with you once again, brothers, sisters. I can't imagine what we are all able to do. There is no limit. Think of it this way. The Prophet ﷺ was living in a very dark environment. Complete darkness. Tawaf around the Kaaba was done while people are naked. Al-Khamr was consumed more than the water. Dhulm was so intense. Is there more dhulm than a person to bury his own daughter alive? There's nothing. This is like how hard their hearts have been. You know, classification, slavery, name it, everything was there. The Prophet ﷺ started alone. And he started with a hope, with a shine that become later on a torch that have provided guidance to the rest of the world. He started with a few individuals, young people. Al-Arqam ibn Abi al-Arqam, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, Mus'ab ibn Umair. We all know the story of Mus'ab ibn Umair. The Prophet ﷺ's history or seerah is not for us to read and be entertained with, but to be inspired with. And I could see us turning to difficulties, and this is what I say to patients, you know, when they come to me. You're being given a lot of lemon, so make sure you make a lot of lemonade out of that lemon. We're being put in very difficult, challenging, you know, depressing environment, and we're able to make out of this difficult, challenging, depressing environment a lot of success. And we should be inspired by the people of Gaza. You want to say something? Okay. Go ahead, Akhi.
Does this make us reconsider the whole field, since you're in the field of mental health? Does it make us reconsider the entire field of mental health when we see that we know that you have to have food, shelter, you need to have a work, you have to have a balanced schedule, you need to have a physical routine, you need to have, you know, make sure that you're with having a supporting group of family or friends to maintain your mental health, all this stuff that we put, this whole package that comes with it. But then we see them have none of that, yet look at the resilience and faith they have.
Precisely. Thank you so much. This is a beautiful point. The brother is saying here, we're, you know, mental health experts normally say you need to maintain, you know, a healthy lifestyle by, you know, healthy diet, enough hours of sleep. Make sure you take your supplement, you know, vitamins and minerals. Make sure you exercise, you know, properly. Make sure you stay optimistic and, you know, take care of yourself by taking a vacation once in a while, you know, interact socially with people around you. Those are all advices. Yet, you know, we're seeing none of that exists or available for the people of Gaza, and they're still, you know, emitting a huge, you know, power, positive power that inspires the whole world around them. That's a very good point to keep in mind. So does that mean these things that you mentioned are not essential for the positive mental health? In my assessment, yeah, it could possibly be. In difficult situation, the Quran would be probably your ultimate source of healing and power to be able to move forward in the positive direction. Now, I wanted to touch base on something that was presented earlier. You know, one of the things that we fail to understand as a community, by the way, this is my observation even from, you know, my practice for over the past almost 27 years, is we have a lack of understanding to sabr, patience. We feel that sabr and patience is an individual ibadah, when in reality it's an accumulative or congregational ibadah. Meaning to say, we always hear people say, don't talk about it. You know, keep it inside and be patient. Well, I'm not sure where they got that from. You know, one of the mashayikh in Palestine who, you know, always talk about, you know, the issues in Palestine, you know, jihad and all the details, once gave a khutbah about the Prophet ﷺ who cries. And the perception we have, you know, men don't cry, is absolutely not, you know, right perception, because the Prophet ﷺ himself cried in certain situations because he's a human being. He has feelings, he has heart, he has, you know, he's an interactive person, because if you were to be a hard-hearted person, then you're unable to interact, understand what goes on around you. So pay attention to who you are as a human being, a person with a lot of feelings and emotions and ability and power to change, and the will to be able to take, you know, step in either direction you choose in your life. So having said that, one of the things we are able to pay attention to and be able to work on is to be more sensitive and responsive to our own feelings and be more connected. And one of the things that the young people, said earlier today, is one of the things we can take as an action plan is to be more united. And that's what I would love to take as a message, walk away from here, is let's be more united. Let's feel each other. So we're able to become much stronger, and be able to, work together as one unit. And when we are together, then we're more powerful. And we're more able to do things that will help us to do something and support and aid to those who are dying and living a very difficult, extremely difficult lifestyle. Like, did you want to say something?
I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Akhi.
Obviously, in the last 2 to 3 weeks, every time we go on social media, we see something that obviously could be graphic. Some child has been killed, someone lost a limb, etc. What are some practical advice that you have that keeps the heart
Alive.
soft?
Exactly. Because
Don't become desensitized.
Exactly. That's my concern. You need not to be numb with your feelings. You need not to become more, used to seeing these images, and you just, okay, well, I get used to it. We need not to let that happen. We need to continue to make our conscience awake, and the way to do it is by being active. And that's my point. Sharing your thoughts and feelings with those who are around you. Get the support needed with those who are, around you. Take actions, and this is going to be actually my next step. It's let's now talk about being active and take practical actions into, channeling that energy from being negative energy that cripples us, from being a positive energy that will make us alive and will continue to, erupt an avalanche of many things that will, inshallah, do a huge difference in what's happening around us. Think of all these demonstrations that have taken place all over the world. Some people are saying, what's the point of going outside? It's just nothing. It's just, relieving your emotions. It could be, but you know what? When thousands have demonstrated in Mississauga, and another thousands, demonstrated in Toronto, and similar in Vancouver and in Montreal and in Amsterdam and in London and in Washington DC, that sends a message to the officials. Now we're going to talk about the positive things. What can we do? Yesterday, I was in Ottawa. I was in Capitol Hill. NCCM, National Council of Canadian Muslims, organized a day to meet with the politicians. And selected members from the community, were asked to come in a very short notice to make it to the Capitol Hill and meet with officials to send a message to them. What made me sad is not the negative response from the officials, not the way they respond back. There are some officials who did not even look us at the eye when they were talking to us. We had a meeting with them, at certain time. They made us wait 10, 15 minutes until they welcomed inside their office. And when we were welcomed into their office, they were just like, okay, whatever. And I said to myself, why? When we engaged into conversations, and one of the opposite officials of the government, he gave us that, attitude, I was angry. And I could just, I went out of the script because we were provided script to speak from, and we were given guidelines to how to interact with the officials. And I said, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. I need to deal with this guy straight. And then eventually, the timekeeper is saying to us, it's time for us to leave. This official said to his own secretary, push my next appointment for another 20 minutes. Let's deal with this right now. What I noticed is that we as Muslim community have came late to their office. Not late with a few days or weeks or months, but so many years. And what attracted my attention is that with these guys, and I trust, and I give them the benefit of the doubt, when they were talking back to us, they were talking because they believed in what is in their mind. They were brainwashed. They were indoctrinated to believe that what's so-called the state of Israel is a miskeen that has been subjugated to brutal treatment from the Muslims and Arab world and Palestinians for the past 75 years. I was told about one of the officials who was like very ruthless with us. He said when he was first elected to the office, he was very pro-Muslim. After 4 years, he changed 180 degrees. And I was told that he made 4 trips to a certain location on earth. You figure it out. That made him change his mind. What does this mean? It means we need not to be reactive, but to be proactive by taking actions into long term, also to short terms. Because right now, I don't think we need to also talk always about long term and forget what is happening right now. There is a genocide that's happening right now. I can't stand, and I said that into their faces. Most of those who I have met with, I said to them, can you tell me, how are you able to go home at the end of the day and sleep? I can't imagine you being able to do that. I told them I have been feeling guilty for the past 20 days from going to bed at the end of the day exhausted, knowing that there are those who are unable to find safe location to stay in, not to sleep, but just to stay in. What can we do? All of you, mashallah, are savvy in social media. And if you believe that the mainstream media or mass media is going to be, someone that you count on to do something, you're naive. And I don't think any of you have, a trust anymore in any of the media outlets. Period. This is it. Every day, I listen to my own sources of news. But I need to keep updated on what's happening in the political arena. So I turn to our official, news outlet, and I'm extremely disappointed. I become more angry and I become more frustrated. It's unbelievable. Where are your moral values? Where are your professional standards? It's all gone, vanished. Now, practically speaking, despite of the negativity we were faced with, despite of the resistance we were faced with, I personally believe that we did at least a small dent, or we give a drop in a huge bucket that later on, inshallah, could be filled. All of you, as I said, are savvy in social media. All of you are captains, commanders that can mobilize a lot of masses around you utilizing social media. Do not underestimate. I know these social media are controlled by businesses that are pro Israel. That I have no doubt about. But eventually, we need not to give up, because the people of Gaza cannot afford it, because they have not given up, because they have continued to stood up until the last breath of their life, until the last drop of their wounds. They can intimidate us, they can shut certain channels down, but we continue to be persistent and create another channel and more channels, and we'll continue to speak the truth. They can intimidate someone and fire them from work, as they did to our sister Sarah Jami in my riding in Hamilton. But they cannot intimidate and fire thousands. Let's be smart, let's be professional, let's think outside the box, and let's see what are we able to do within our disposal to become effective tool of a change of the haqq. After all, be careful. As I said to the young, brothers and sisters, revenge is not the agenda of the Muslims. Because we have morals, we have principles, we have values, and we act upon our own values. Yes, we are assertive in the haqq, and we are strong in the path of truth, but also we're not transgressor, and we would not allow our emotions to make us, ignore our own principles and values. So we are ambassadors, and we are soldiers of the haqq, the truth, and Allah is with us. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُدَافِعُ عَنِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ إِن كُنْتُمْ مُؤْمِنِينَ. Right. You are the experts. Tell me how, within your premises, with whatever you have at this disposal, you're able to create a change, to make a difference. You know, I was in your shoes some years ago, not too long, I'm still young. But when I was in university, I felt that I had more power, more energy, more, ability to express myself, to engage into political, activities, into, public speaking, actions. And that's available at your disposal. Don't be intimidated. As I said, they might be able, using their power, cowardly and illegally, to intimidate certain individuals and shut them down. But they cannot shut down, thousands. And that's what goes again to the empowerment of everyone and being united. They will never be able to do it. Look into, what's more than this? We've seen it, and we continue to see it. And Allah knows what's happening right now as a result of the complete, shut off of the power supply and the internet. Allah knows what's going to happen. May Allah have rahmah on the people of Gaza. طيب, I'm going to turn it back to you. Let me know practically, what are we able to come up with as an action plan for all of us to start with, and to pass it on to other population in universities around us. Go ahead.
So from what happened the past 20 days,
Yeah.
I'm thinking this story has gained a global, almost publicity more than any other cause.
It's true.
Which exposes the people, non-Muslims, people from the West, Canada, so on and so forth, to Islam, and to Palestinians and so on. So now this person has a lot of questions. Who are the Palestinians? Who are these Muslims? Are they terrorists? Are they doing this? Why are they doing this? So who's gonna come and answer these questions that they have, right? And when they come to us or to you, do you have the ability to express your understanding of Islam very eloquently and fluently to this person, that he will gain a good understanding of Islam? So I think the first step is for us not to focus on the political and all this, but since we are Shabab, we only have knowledge, ilm, darasa, work and so on. You're going to have colleagues. Your biggest mistake they can do is you expressing Islam in an incorrect way, or expressing what's happening in an incorrect or not even in a good articulated manner. So if you need to have this ability to improve your speech and your understanding of Islam, so that any person who has a question, he comes to any Muslim and he gets a good picture of the deen.
So number one, be educated. Be educated on the cause, bottom line. Because this is actually, by the way, what's the first step in therapy. Being aware of what you're dealing with, and and then take action plans. So if you do not have, you cannot give. So you need to first of all be aware, be learned, understand the cause, understand how to be an effective da'i to the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. Because after all, we're not concerned about Palestinians because they're happen to be Palestinians. We're not concerned about them because they have a nice kufiya, the decorations of the kufiya. This is irrelevant. We're Muslims, and we're being targeted because we're Muslims. And this is what we were trying to pass on to the officials yesterday. And this is what amazed me. Like the number of those who are demonstrating and showing their anger and being concerned are not only Palestinians. Actually, the Palestinians are a small minority among them. It's the massive ummah and those who have conscience from the rest of the world, being of whatever faith background or no faith background. They have shown concern because they are human beings, they have morals, they have principles. So going back again to our issue, being learned, being educated. Now, what are the resources we can turn to for getting the right and accurate understanding to the cause and promote it the right way? Again, nccm.ca. Lately, I have given up everything else and I focused all my energy into supporting their work. Because there are professional young people like yourself, probably a little older than you, but they have a clean mind, understanding of how to communicate effectively with the officials, how to promote and lobby as an advocacy group in now a very difficult environment. They're now like sailing in an ocean with a lot of waves and storms. But they are, alhamdulillah, walillah alhamd, doing, and their little is showing results. So they have, I believe, on their website, a desk for Palestine. And within that desk, they have a lot of resources, educational resources you can turn to. Take your time, read them, and start promoting what you learn from that and pass the message on to those who are around you. This is number one. Number two. Go ahead, Akhi.
Based on what he said, what my friend said,
Yeah.
we can ask and we can read what our Prophet said in his hadith, من رأى منكم منكرا فليغير
Precisely.
by his hand,
Whatever capacity.
by his tongue, by his
true.
lisan. Or if he cannot, he can change it by his heart, and ذلك ضعف الإيمان. So now, based on our situation now, all of us, I think most of us, so now we are in the second stage, like by our tongue or by our heart. So what we can do now, all of us, as you said, all of us have an account on the social media, so we can keep posting what we learn from the new sources. And in our work, in our university, in our college, we can teach. After we learn, we can teach the other people. Like in my work, I met a lot of people from Europe, from United States, from all the world. They do not know anything about Islam. They do not know anything about Palestine. As we said, Palestine is not for Palestinians. Palestine is for all Muslims.
Exactly.
So it has a Masjid al-Aqsa.
And it's for all faith background. Christians, Muslims, and Jews. There were Jews who were living in Palestine before all this, happened.
Yeah. So,
And they were living peacefully.
so now we can talk with them. We can teach them. We can show them what is the real of Islam.
Top number two is to start taking actions in whatever tools at your disposal to promote the truth, the haqq. You have learned, you know the facts. Now you need to take actions, practical actions into passing these facts and these information to others around you. Personal communication is one. Okay, social media is another one. Whatever capacity at your disposal available for you, take it. I know the brother here in the back raised his hand first, and then we can come to you, inshallah. So go ahead, Akhi.
So, one of the biggest bases that support Zionism in the US is the evangelical Christians.
Okay.
And their pastor will tell them that, if you love Jesus, you cannot love Jesus without loving Israel. You cannot be a good Christian without supporting Israel to the end. But then, and they've been brainwashed for a very long time. A lot of churches will actually fly the American flag and then the Israeli flag, or fly the American flag and three Israeli flags.
Yeah.
It's that embedded into their
Belief.
belief.
Yeah.
But then when they actually learn about Islam, when they learn about how close Islam is, that Islam is much closer to Christianity than Judaism is, kind of sometimes a light bulb will light up in their head. So I think, first of all, mass mobilization over social media is super important, but then we need to take targeted actions to where we want to be.
Be more specific in your target action, right? Is that what you're saying? So rather than just being emotional and just let your energy be flow in all directions, I believe in being more of a specific and focus.
We should have programs that specifically go for interfaith dialogue with churches.
Perfect. Be it.
Within 10 years, we've reached out to every church in the GTA and have built up these inter-community or interfaith dialogues, and that will have a mass effect because these are the people who really have a strong effect on conservative government here. So if these people support you, then
as we all say that your fingers, they're all not all the same shape and the same strength. Every finger has certain shape and certain strength. And every one of us has certain ability that others might not have. You might be good into interfaith dialogue. He could be probably more into political engagement dialogues. She could be more into more ethical or more humanitarian or more whatever area that she's able to do. But the point here is that I think this is what you're trying to say is be more specific and more professional in your approach. Do not scatter your energy into different directions. Believe in what you're doing, and think that what you're doing is a proportion of what is done with the other individuals, and all your efforts together are accumulated to be a powerful source of change. Because the narrow-mindedness that we have in our community, my way or the highway, akhi, forget about this, for Allah's sake, for how long we're going to be suffering with this mentality, even here in Canada, khalas, we left it back home. Let's start now with open-mindedness. Let's be more, accommodating to each other. Let's believe in each other's abilities and power and difference of opinions. Let's be united. Enough, narrow-mindedness and enough destruction to our, resources and to our ummah. Khalas, we passed this stage now.
United doesn't mean we all have to do the same thing.
Exactly. Actually, we need to do different things. Our differences is the secrets of our strength, as we always say in Canada here. But why we cannot apply it within our community? I know that this brother here first, and then inshallah we'll turn to you, inshallah. Go ahead, akhi.
Student unions at universities have some movements against their administration.
Okay.
And they have some of them are so against the officials of these universities. And not just that, they have experience in protesting or the movements against the leaders of universities with regards to social issues or occupation or free education
Yeah.
or the indigenous people here or
Right.
some other places. So it's very important to support them and support their activities with regards. That's one thing. The other thing with doing that, we try to line up the generalization that only Muslims and Arabs are with Palestine. Because we form allies
Exactly.
with other people from other backgrounds that are not Muslims or Arabs, and they're still with these student unions, and they are joining us in the protest at universities or somewhere else.
But I hope that someone can write down these points. So we started, number one, be educated and informed. Number two is take a proactive approach from within your disposal to start promoting that, this information or this knowledge in whatever capacity you're able to do. Number three is be more specific and more professional and focused in your area of expertise and ability to excel and believe in what you're doing and accommodate others around you. Number four now is build alliance. And I love this point. Now, I've participated or attended, not participated, attended so many demonstrations happening, lately. One of the most beautiful demonstrations I was impressed with, because normally I go to demonstrations and I hear someone, shouting in Arabic, another person shouting in whatever it is, and another person, yelling there, and someone is screaming there. What message are you sending out? I understand you're frustrated, but let's just at least get our, emotions, our energy, channeled together so we're able to effectively get something done. The most beautiful demonstration I attended was beautifully organized and with a spokesperson who clearly spelled out the purpose of the demonstration. First of all, we're here to denounce the actions of the Israeli forces against the civilians in Gaza, and they had list of different speakers from different backgrounds. They had indigenous representative, they had a Jewish representation, they had a Tamil representation, and they had different lobby groups present. And I said, so may Allah bless those people who have organized this. This is exactly what we need to do. Build alliance. Now this is number 4. Let's go to number 5. Tayyib. What else we can do?
Sheikh, we have a few sisters on the side.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know that. Okay, inshallah. We'll give the chance for the sisters, and then we'll go back to this brother here because you were trying to say something. Yes, inshallah. Go ahead, sister.
I think something we usually do is we expect like an immediate outcome. So we're working in the short term, we're working with a lot of momentum for now, and then it dies down. I think one way to kind of counter that is, one, understand the people you're dealing with and how they perceive you and how they work with you. So a lot of times with student unions, they know you're only in your position for 1 year, so they'll
Exactly.
play that 1 year and then tire you out, and you haven't prepared the people after you to take on or continue the project we're working on, and so it creates a cycle of wasting your energy, and then like you said in discussions with politicians, when you show your strength, they might be more responsive. So understanding who you're working with, but also understanding that this is a long-term project, and I think.
Thank you so much, sister. Beautiful, beautiful point. A syndrome we deal with as a community, by the way. Individualism. I'm the guy. If it's not me, if I'm not there, everything is collapsing. We fail to build systems, and we center ourselves on certain causes or certain work. Let's go beyond this. It does not matter who's getting the credit for what is being done. What matters is how we can get this thing done more professionally and effectively. And I understand, organizations, or maybe in your situations as university students, you're in a position for certain years because you're in a campus, or you're doing your program or a degree, and then after that you have to move on. You cannot just cling into the position you're in in the university. So one of the things is to keep in mind is to build a system, empower the system, not yourself as an individual. This is number one. Number two is try to connect or to pass the torch on to those who come after before you. Or after you, so they're able to maintain the same energy you're going. And what's more effective, and this is my assessment, is to connect with a bigger organization or an umbrella organization that have a similar understanding to the cause you're working for, so that when you leave, when you graduate, when you move on in your life, the energy is still there. And again, alhamdulillah, we do have a lot of organizations. MAC is one of the organizations, alhamdulillah, have taken the lead, and they're doing an excellent job in different dimensions. But also keep the work of NCCM in your mind. As I said, I'm not employee for them, but I come closely to see how hard working they have been working, and how much effective their work is. I've worked with them since they introduced the London Family Act in Queen's Park. And they were always at the front line when something wrong happened, to respond to Islamophobia, to different things that we need in for the community. Let's at least give them, let's stay behind and tell them, okay, we're at your disposal to see how we can be of empowering your work and make your work more effective. So this is very good. So number one is reduce individualism, and let's create more systematic work, and let's partner with bigger organizations that have more rooted and structured system, so that when we are finished at certain, we serve these years of university, then someone else is able to take over, and the mission is continue to happen, inshallah. That's a beautiful point. Yes, go ahead, sister.
It's also important that we gain social capital. So, mashallah, we have a lot of doctors in our community. But
Yeah.
It's also important to start looking at, having government positions, dealing with leadership more, having media positions, because, that's something that you can say Zionists have done really well, is taking up a lot of those positions, and they are able to control certain narratives. So if we are, mashallah, we have so many Muslims in Canada or in the States or whatnot, I'm sure we can get someone elected or someone able to speak up for our causes, and of course, that goes hand in hand with having alliances, being respectful, doing what you can, not just for yourself, for your own interest, but working towards helping others, but as well being able to do stuff for yourself.
Jazakallah khair. Excellent point. And again, I hope someone is writing these resolutions, because we're gonna post them. Okay, you're writing, sister, right? So at the end, this is what we come up with, because we're not here to just release emotions. We're not just to, oh, alhamdulillah, I feel good that I attended this, I'm gonna go to sleep. No, this is gonna make us lose more sleep and be more active, inshallah. What the sister was saying is excellent. We need to network. We need to get to know our strength. We have so many professionals, we have so many talents, but these talents are not utilized properly because it's scattered. Again, once we're united, once we get to know, but we need to create the network mechanism. And I'm not sure how would that be. Is it through different media outlet, the link, or something similar to link, something we create our own, that where professionals get to know, stay connected with each other, so we're able to network and support each other in our professional life and our academic life. And when needed, when we need their money to pitch in, one of the things that, this is a very sad story. This goes back again to endorse why you need to create this network. When NCCM was trying to raise a small proportion of what's normally spent in the lobby groups Lobby groups have massive money at their disposal. A year ago, they were trying to raise some money to start at least the first step towards establishing an international office within their work. They said we need $250,000. You know, they did work and they fundraised and all the details. They get up to 70 and they stopped. Now, when this crisis happened again, oh, we need to do something. We have only 70,000. We need this much. They did a fundraiser event, you know, within certain network group, and they did, you know, some work, and they only raised 47,000. One of the docs who was in the group said, "Okay, guys, listen. You know, this is a family who was affected with, you know, their children was on the, you know, no-fly zone. Children, we're talking about, you know, less than 10 years old. They were in the no-fly zone. So NCC helped them to be, you know, to free them and to be able to fly. So she's a believer. She knew. She said, listen, come up with 100,000, I'll match it. This is one person, one family. So you can imagine professionals who have, Allah have given them the wealth, you know, for them to give 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, it's a possibility. It's there. But we need to reach for them. We need to know who are they. We need to, you know, present them with the cause we're working for so they're able to do something. So again, yes, indeed, we need to create a database. We need to network. We need to know our strength. We need to know our resources. And we need to reach for those who have the capital so we're able to move on and move forward in our work. Yes, Akhi, go ahead, finally.
Very quick story.
Yeah, maybe, yani, should we give the chance for the brother because he's been silent? I know he's looking at me. I don't want him to get angry with me at the end. Khalas, it's between the two of you. Yeah.
The MP Pam Demoff recently called me. I've been calling the office several times and no one ever called me back until one time I called them. I was like, okay, I'm holding donation money. You're never gonna see this check unless I hear back from the MP. But she called me, she spoke to me for 7 minutes, asking me, oh, look, what do you think about this, so we're trying to rush that down. She's like, my office mentioned something about a donation.
Exactly. It happened, by the way, with some of the in NCC AMS, you know, a group. One of the brothers was mentioning something similar to that. He said, "I'm gonna withdraw my donation to support the party." They immediately got alarmed. Yeah, go ahead, Akhi.
I wanted to actually touch a point on Iyad's couple of comments before regarding the Evangelical Church and the interfaith dialogues. I think the main point in that comment was, especially with social media. I mean, I think most of us use, and it's fair to say that, or it's safe to say that most of us use Instagram to share a lot of the content. Most of our profiles are private, meaning we just share it to our circles, which also hold the same beliefs that we do. So actually, when we share content, most of the time it's just echoed in these big chambers of people that already believe what we want to believe. And what ends up happening is there's this huge polarizing, you have the two sides. And so I think that was probably the main point that Iyad was trying to mention was with these interfaith dialogues, we acknowledge that these individuals might have different views, and it could be that for them they were brainwashed, it could be that they were misinformed, etc. And so these conversations, and I think it shouldn't just be interfaith dialogues, it should just be like most of us have friends that are not Arab, not what you tend to find who would know about these situations. And so it's just these small understandings of providing the context.
Sure. Because I'm asked to finish in 5 minutes. So number 7, I believe, in the list would be to believe in the power, and our power and our strength. Knowing that we do have the votes, we do have the capital, but we need to network to be able to tap into it. So these are 7 things that we can, inshallah, take as an action plan for us to move forward, feeling not relieved emotionally from feeling guilty that we're not doing anything for the people of Gaza. Now I did this attend decision, let me just go back and move on in my life. No, I need to lose more sleep and to be more concerned, but I need to channel my energy in the positive direction, knowing that my little effort is going to be, added to the little effort from this side and from that side, and our all little efforts will be, inshallah, not a bucket, what will be a huge ocean, inshallah, will make a huge difference. My brothers and sisters, فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعْدُ الْآخِرَةِ. Right? You were reading this earlier, right? We are in وعد الآخرة. It's a matter of time. And I'm a strong believer that al-haq will never be defeated. And that's a fact. We're talking about historical facts, we're talking about Quranic facts. Yes, there is always a struggle between haq and batil. But at the end, and this is a fact, Haqq will be revealing. And we need to be ambassadors of Haqq, soldiers of Haqq, and face the challenges and difficulties that the prophets of Allah all have faced in their struggle in the path of Haqq. And we're no exception. أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون ولقد فتنا الذين من قبلهم فلا يعلمن الله الذين صدقوا ولا يعلمن الكاذبين. Do you think that Jannah is cheap? You know what I say to my patients in the hospital, I say to them, listen, there is no justification to why you're going through this, or to a mom who's losing a baby, or to a mom who's struggling with a child since birth with a chronic sickness. I said there is no logical explanation to this. But if you look at it from the right perspective, knowing that Allah Azza wa Jal, the Mighty, have chosen you to go through this for a bigger gain in the Akhirah, everything will be little. You guys know what it's like during exams times. But always you keep in mind that after I finish my exams with good achievement, I will be happy. I'll feel the satisfaction. I'll be achieving something in my life. I'll be more comfortable. Jannah is more precious than anything else. And Jannah is very expensive. Let's roll our sleeves and let's work very hard for Al-Jannah, not for the dunya. Allahumma ameen. طب, let's conclude with the dua, inshallah, so we can conclude the session, inshallah. اللهم لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. اللهم لك الحمد يا من خلقت السماوات والأرض ولم تعي بخلقهن. لك الحمد يا من لم تتخذ ولدا ولم يكن لك شريك في الملك ولم يكن لك ولي من الذل والله أكبر كبيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك اللهم على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم إن عبيدك أبناء عبيدك أبناء إمائك نواصينا يا رب بيدك ماض يا رب فينا حكمك عدل فينا قضاؤك. نسألك اللهم بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك أنزلته في كتابك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك بأن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا يا الله. اللهم اجعل جلاء لهمومنا وأحزاننا يا رب العالمين. اللهم انك تعلم ان لنا اخوانا في غزه لا حول لهم ولا قوه الا بك يا رب. اللهم ارحمهم برحمتك يا رب العالمين. اللهم فك اسر اسراهم، اللهم داوي جرحاهم ومرضاهم، اللهم ارحم اطفالهم، اللهم ارحم نساءهم، اللهم ارحم ثكلاهم يا رب، اللهم ارحم الأيتام يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنهم لا حول لهم ولا قوة إلا بك. اللهم انصرهم يا رب، اللهم ثبت أقدامهم، اللهم ارفع الظلم عنهم، اللهم استخدمنا لنصرة دينك واستخدمنا لمرضاتك وطاعتك واجعلنا من جندك يا رب العالمين. Ya Allah, we pray to supplicate to you to restore justice and peace on earth, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Ya Allah, make us from the soldiers of haqq and truth. Make us from those who believe in the truth and promote it and stand for it, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Ya Allah, we ask you to alleviate the suffering of those who are suffering on earth, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Free those who are captive, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Ya Allah, feed those who are hungry, Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Ya Allah, quench the thirst of those who are thirsty, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Ya Allah, heal the wounds of those who are wounded, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we have no one else to turn to except you, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Ya Allah, we have lost hope and faith in anything except from you, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. You are the mighty. You are the one who said the things be and they will be. Ya Allah, make us from those who will believe firmly in you, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Make us from those who stand between your hands in the darkness of the night, in the last third of the night, and cry between your hands and say, Ya Rabb, have rahmah on Ummat Nabiyyika Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya Allah, make us from those who would lose sleep trying to please you in the darkness of the night, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Make us from those who sacrifice their time, their wealth, their health for your sake, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Allahumma ameen. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in bi rahmatika arhamar rahimin. Allahumma ameen. Wa fikum inshallah. Hayakum Allah. I'll just put it off, okay, inshallah, if you don't mind. خلاص close it, stop it.